Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to Crypto Chat UK. I want to go through some articles today, mostly on Bitcoin, but I always think that if you talk about Bitcoin anyway, I will talk about the cryptos over the next few weeks as well, like I always do, of course. I will concentrate a little bit more on Bitcoin as well, I think. I'm going to go through a lot more research on quite a lot of articles, what people are saying around the world. I'll try and bring you the best stuff that I can on it. There is a lot of stuff that I'm missing. I'm trying to find all the information I can, what people are saying, publicly, what people are saying in the background, what's happening in the background as well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment. I have said it in other videos, what's happening in the background, the transactional increase, the percentage of uptake on a domestic level, what I call domestic level, or people call the retail level. But mostly at the moment, what's on the big business and the stuff, the institutional stuff that's going on, but also some of the stuff that's being developed, right, which is happening a lot of the time. I want to go through this article because all constantly we hear this thought about Bitcoin being dead and cryptocurrency being dead and all that, like it was a fad and stuff like that. The people who do study it, like myself, or who you don't even have to study it, who understand the concept of it, and there is lots out there. It's not like it's just a small number of people. That's, I think, is what gives you the confidence in it and realise that it is. It's not going anywhere. It's not disappearing. It's not going to crash and burn and go out, no matter what price it ever goes down to. So, I do get a bit like, oh, God, here we go. Another person saying it's the end of cryptocurrency and there's a lot of depression and stuff like that. This is where I talk about widening the view, and I think a lot of people do. If you've got, who was it who said, somebody said something like, if you've got a longer vision, I think it might be a chap who's in this article, if you've got a longer vision, that's where you get more comfortable and ignore these drops. They are pretty much short-term crashes and so forth. We can extend and we can manipulate stuff, what we say, but you've only got to look at even January last year, January 2017, Bitcoin was less than $1,000. We've had them big drops before and since then. Now, this article by bitcoinist.com started with RIP Bitcoin. By the way, I do think this is a rice cake. I thought it might be polystyrene. I'm sure this is cut out of a rice cake. Kind of cool. Anyway, Cambridge University, speculation of the death of Bitcoin greatly exaggerated. Yes, obviously greatly exaggerated. Look, I know I'm no financial advisor, so you have a look at the cryptocurrencies, the usual spiel when it comes to that. But Bitcoin isn't going anywhere. Cryptocurrency isn't going anywhere. There is going to be some of the crap ones that come out, some of the people who are trying to basically, cash in. There's some of the ICOs that aren't genuine businesses, aren't genuinely anything that needs the technology or is going to increase in value enough. There is a lot of that. But the main ones, there's certainly the stuff that has got a serious function for the world is going to be there. Now, I'm not going to read all these articles, okay? I'm not going to read the full lot. But this one makes some great points, but also some points I don't necessarily agree with. So, following news that verified crypto user numbers doubled in the first 3 quarters of 2018, the study by Cambridge University concluded that the death of Bitcoin, amid an 85% drop in price, has been greatly exaggerated by the media. Cambridge University, Bitcoin mining diversifying. Aside from the influx of new users, the report titled Second Global Crypto Asset Benchmarking Study reveals several other key findings from the analysts. Notably, diversification has increased with a rising cross-segment expansion, meaning 57% of companies now offer integrated services to customers. Multi-coin support has also increased from 47% of service providers in 2017 to 84%. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of big companies. And I don't think it's any FUD, any rubbish, any, incorrect media. But you look at stuff like Amazon getting involved. All these other companies, there is some big companies, and they're doing stuff in the background. Banks as well. They are doing some major stuff in the background. So it talks about geographical concentration of mining cash flows, not as big of a problem as commonly perceived as well, with particular growth in North America. A large share of the energy consumed by these fields comes from renewable sources in regions with excess supply. This is making a point about the fact that we, they talk about the energy use, and I think there's some real FUD information, some real rubbish put out there that it was going to increase and cause global warming to increase by so much percent when it doesn't use as much energy as a lot of others. I have noticed a lot of companies, big companies with mining rigs and so forth that are set up on a large scale, they are looking at, and I presume new ones coming in as well, looking at alternative energies, and like this says, using excess energy that perhaps gets wasted. Now that needs to carry on being worked like that, of course, for anything. But as for the energy usage, it's such a small percent compared to what we do have now and what is out there on other, whether it's money creation, whether it's transactions and so forth. It's just crazy if anybody says that. But that does touch on that point anyway. It also notes the growing maturity of the market as indicated by an increase in self-regulation. Future expansion will at most be delayed. Yes, I mean, it might mention this, but certainly what happens on the retail side, of course, the big wigs in the background obviously understand it better to a degree, is people who FOMO'd in and then got to the eyes, perhaps invested on the higher points, and then it crashed down. Obviously, they're going to be put off, and then there's a lot of fear spread. There's a lot of incorrect media spread about it, saying, oh my God, it's a waste of time, I put my money into that and I lost it all and so forth. Hopefully the people who've realised to hold, if they did get on that long term, they will get them gains. I'm like over 100% sure of it myself. I'm very confident. There is some cryptos where I'm still obviously in profit because of when I went in, but there is some points where I was trying to find where the bottoms were as it was going up, so on them pullbacks going in, and it's certainly gone past them downwards. So it has gone below some of them points where I went in. So I'm on a negative on quite a few cryptocurrencies. I certainly tightened up on the types, which I've said before. I've certainly tightened up on more the fundamental cryptocurrencies, and some of the top cryptocurrencies that I can see are there, including Bitcoin, of course. I'm always securing a better position with Bitcoin, always trying to find them bottoms. But we're going to have a look at the market as well later on CoinMarketCap. It talks about the intense media coverage which fueled the market frenzy in 2017. It says it started in April, but I was talking to people in 2016 about this, and it was growing then, of course. So, and then obviously there was a collapse later in the year in 2018. It shows a graph there. If you want to have a look at this article, have a look at it. It's easy to find on Bitcoinist. It says here, statements proclaiming the death of the cryptocurrencies have been made after every global ecosystem bubble. While it is true that 2017 bubble was the largest in Bitcoin's history, the market capitalization of both Bitcoin and the crypto asset ecosystem still exceeds its January 2017 level. That's what I was just saying earlier. It was less than $1,000 in January 2017. That was prior to the start of the bubble. This report has shown that the speculation of the death of the market and ecosystem has been greatly exaggerated, and so it seems likely the future expansion plans of industry participants will at most be delayed. Indeed, the death of Bitcoin has been proclaimed over 330 times over the past decade, and it's doubtful whether this time is any different. The future outlook. So what do these plans entail? Well, an increase in multi-coin support is likely to continue, with all single currency storage providers planning to add support for more crypto access. So coin storage is being developed more and more. User friendliness is being attempted to make it easier for people, of course. We'll talk about education shortly. There's some education stuff going out there. But yeah, the multiple crypto assets, that's very important. I think, although I don't think Coinbase has done a perfect job, because I think Ripple XRP should be on there already. I think Coinbase so far, and I hope they don't change their attitude, have been very careful in putting on the cryptos that they think are real serious cryptocurrencies, and perhaps do have a future. I'm not sure if that's always going to be the case. I'm not sure if that's, if the ones that are on there now, all of, because I haven't been on there for a little bit, are that. I'm going to go back through Coinbase today just to see what they have put on, because I have heard some more have gone on. But yeah, I think in general, stuff like that, I believe that all cryptos, that are out there, perhaps a lot of the wallets, a lot of the providers of storage and stuff like that, should give the option for multiple coins. Of course, they need to make it easy for crossing over, of course, and that is being worked on. We'll keep an eye on that, see what happens. Innovation in second layer payment networks such as Bitcoin's Lightning Network, that seems to be proving its worth at the moment. We obviously, Lightning Network, I've said in a video, that's been tested, and it will take a long time to get all the results through and make sure everything's okay. Will have the biggest impact on business models and operations, according to the report. Talking about stablecoins, stablecoins are likely to enhance business opportunities by mitigating volatility for storage providers. So obviously, if you don't know anything about stablecoins, look it up. I may do a video on them, but pretty easy. It's it's in the name anyway. It basically is a stable coin, so you can take your money out of cryptocurrency, put it in. There is a bit more to it than that, but have a look into it. This data comes from analysts of a serious sentiment question posed by the study. Yeah, so that's talking about all that. If you want to have a look at the article, you can do. But yeah, I do find it dead funny when we talk about RIP Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, obviously, this is a positive note about Bitcoin, and it just kind of is saying it's a bit ridiculous how this keeps being mentioned, and that goes with widen your vision. Widen your vision on the market itself, looking at past and future potentials, but also widen your vision on the actual information that's out there. How much FUD has been out there in the past about cryptocurrency, in particular Bitcoin, because it's been around for 10 years now. This is what I've been saying. Bitcoin mass adoption will happen naturally. This came out on November the 8th. But yeah, I mean, this is what I talk about. I'm talking about the big, huge growth, the volatility that's occurred. Yes, it is a big opportunity while it's such a new technology, why it's emerging as it is. Big opportunities for any market like that. And also after a crash, of course, all markets, a lot of people see that as opportunities. So, and like I do, I see it as opportunity now where we're at as we're going down, and I believe it will go less than 100 billion myself, which I might mention shortly. Yeah, of course, the transition into mass adoption is going to take time, and this is what I was saying: the volatility, the huge growth, the way it goes up too fast, it's going to come back down. You do get pullbacks normally anyway, on average of say 30-40 to say 60-70%. If you're looking at around 60% pullback, then we have many of them, and that's where more opportunities arise. But I'm looking, and I've said this in other videos, for more steadier growth, because the steadier the growth, and as the technology gets developed more, and as it increases in its usability and its user friendliness, more people are going to adopt it. Now, we're going to talk about this in another little article, but more people will adopt it. Of course they will. And that natural progression as it occurs, whether they're adopting it for its use cases, which I think that's what adoption is always about, when it comes to this market, not just the speculation. Okay? So, nothing wrong with speculation. I mentioned this a few times, but there's nothing wrong with speculation. I'm a speculator in this market. I have my own businesses, which is speculative. When you invest in a business, it's speculation. You're trying to make it work. So this is speculation. Nothing wrong with that. But we have got to look at the use cases and the adoption rate on that. Now that's where solid growth occurs, of course, and where it will be more supported long term. And that's gonna take its time. And these big growths and big drops do have a negative effect on it, because it gives it negative press. People jump on board and say they've lost money, and then it has that negative effect. It's my belief, although I'm not a financial advisor, I am so sure where this is going to be in the future. It's just ridiculous. The maths work. The maths work. On Bitcoin in particular, the maths do work. This isn't going to be something that just disappears and goes away. In years to come, it is going to be worth a fortune. So if you're looking at speculation, widen that view. Look further into the future. If you want, do a bit of research on the math. If you ever want to come and talk to me about it, I can show you why I think it. If it sinks in, it isn't that hard to understand. Sometimes it's just being conscious of what it actually is and how the maths work on it. Pretty basic. You can then see, and you will come to the same conclusion I have. It talks about the naysayers. Now this article, this is the bit, that I don't agree with. They talk about the twilight years. They talk about people who've been against Bitcoin. Some of them in the background have been for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And how they talk. It talks about them being old fuddy-duzzies. It says all this. I don't necessarily agree with that necessarily. I'm 45, so I'm not part of exactly the young crowd, perhaps not part of the old crowd. But I believe all ages can understand this and do. I think there's a lot of people of all ages who perfectly easily, understand it, and also are bullish on it because they understand where it's going to get to. But of course, there is that thing with any technology and anything new, as it gets adopted, as it gets embraced over the time, the younger generation perhaps are more open to sort of stuff like that, more willing to learn about it, more willing to get involved in it. So that is a point, but I don't like them just slating. Like they mentioned geriatric gentlemen. I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think that's very nice. There is a small point to the fact that perhaps some of the old generation in finance, some of them may not understand it. Some just are scared of it coming up could affect their finances, could affect what's going on there, and perhaps they want to fight against it a little bit. But as time goes on, and the younger generation will get in, of course. But like I said, not to say that the old generation can't get involved and don't understand it. Of course they do, and they are doing. I do believe that there is an age range where they're more open to it. Yes, I agree with that. Okay, so talking about disruptive technology, it will always have harsh criticism when it's new. We're talking about predictions now seem obviously wrong in retrospect. There is a lot of, incorrect predictions. There's been a lot of technical analysis and haven't got it right. Some of the real good ones, there's Alessio, for example, which I mentioned before. He's very good, but they will give you a wide range. Sometimes it's covering themselves, but they will give you a wide range of possibilities, and that's what reading the market is about. Really, reading the market is about the possibilities. There is some obvious things that do occur, and even me, who's pretty amateur about the TA stuff, I do look at it, and some of the stuff does apply quite easy, and you can see the market move according to these predictions. But because of the volatility and the stuff that happens, there's so much that can affect this market. Well, you're talking about real changes where it can't be so easily predicted, and they haven't predicted the big slump and drops. And like I said before, last year, everybody thought, including me, that adoption was going on. Not really balancing out the fact that, the technology has still got a long way to go development-wise and user-friendliness. So if you're thinking mass adoption's going up, well then the use cases need to be there for that, and they weren't. So it was sheer speculation, so that does cause a problem. But long-term, that it's not going to really matter. So it says, they all see it today, but the automobile is only novelty fan. They're talking about people who said about new technologies coming out, what they said about them and stuff like that. It turned out to be totally wrong. So, they talk about, obviously, Bill Gates, who said people don't need more than 640k for a personal computer, which is just ridiculous. But, obviously people are going to not predict it. So it talks about Bitcoin empowering people. Obviously, generation of Bitcoin. This is what it talks about. So at 10 years old, Bitcoin's fundamentals are getting stronger with each passing day, while undermining any critic crying Bitcoin is dead. Meanwhile, the younger, tech-savvy generation are witnessing Bitcoin stay in power. In fact, the millennial generation in particular has a deep distrust for banks in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. That's gone so quick for me. It doesn't seem like 10 years ago since the financial crisis. Got to be honest. And looking at the markets, there's a lot of people predicting another problem in the markets. Another recession coming and stuff like that. Whether that's the case, I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on that. That's potential. And obviously the market's dropping, the tech issue problems. Obviously, the tech market suffers as well. That perhaps has a knock-on effect on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as well. There's loads of effects, so we can speculate on what affects the market. That's one thing that obviously will and does. But there's loads of stuff, so we can speculate forever on what affects the market and the highs and the lows. This group doesn't invest in stocks like the boomer counterparts. So you're talking about his millennial generation, doesn't invest in stocks like the boomer counterparts. It's already comfortable using digital money from their smartphones. Hence, it's no surprise that millennials ages 18 to 34 comprise the biggest share of Bitcoin users today. So this is where, they're perhaps, I would say a bit braver, perhaps, a bit more open to the new technologies and perhaps learn about it a lot more. They're exposed to perhaps more information than most of an older age, and also not set in the ways. But like I said, not to say that people older are involved and don't understand the market, because of course they do. Goes on to say, what's more, in 8 years there will be no person under 8 years old who have lived in a world without Bitcoin, which has been working flawlessly their whole lives. So I believe that's true. It has worked flawlessly for the last 10 years. So yeah, shocking. In 8 years there'll be no person under 18 years old who hasn't lived in a world without Bitcoin. Who's lived in a world without Bitcoin. This will be the reality for everyone born in 2009 and beyond. Their trust in Bitcoin will be as profound as their trust in gravity, one Twitter user wrote. So when will this Holy Grail mass adoption happen? In some places like Venezuela, it's already permeating public consciousness out of sheer necessity. Elsewhere, it is simply a matter of time. Simply put, Bitcoin mass adoption will happen slowly and then fast. Well, that seems a pretty fascinating sentence right there, but it is true. Mass adoption will happen slowly, we think, and then, yeah, I mean, it's a true sentence. And then obviously once it gets picked up and realised that it is working and people understand it is working, and they can see that its use cases are being applied so simply and easily, which should happen as things develop, then obviously it'll get faster because it'll just become automatic. Yes, we'll use that. Just like using Visa, MasterCard, and anything else financial, the new card machines, it's just going to be normal. Obviously we have the contactless stuff now that's just becoming normal. All this stuff will just become normal. Gives a quote from Nikola Tesla: "The present is theirs, the future for which I really worked is mine." Yeah, anyway. So, good in that. That's not bad. If you want to have a look at the article properly, go and have a look at it. I am making this a little bit of a longer video. This is, this chap here, which I've talked about several times, which is Tom Lee. He's made predictions, got them wrong as well. He's also made a few that are right. He's obviously slightly confused about the value because he says it in this article. He thinks his fair value is 13,800 to 14,800. Won't go through the whole thing on this, but he's talking about the market value is that because of the active wallet addresses, the number of active wallet addresses. He talks about that and mentions stop focusing on price. Even though he has done some predictions, including for the end of this year, and he had to drop it a bit. If he made it, it'd be great, but it's a bit too late now. I think he was talking about $15,000 by the end of this year. I suppose it still could happen, but I very much doubt it. He's made for his Bitcoin price. He refused to give one this time, saying it's getting annoying. He's getting annoyed with everyone's pathological obsession with mundane daily price fluctuations. We are tired of people asking us about target prices. He quipped. Despite the bear market, Lee remains ever bullish about the future of the cryptocurrency industry as we head into 2019, as evidenced by this picture, blah blah, outside JP Morgan, etc. We talk about Bitcoin futures launch, Barked there, facilitated Bitcoin futures contract. There's loads of this. I don't even need to talk about this because there's loads of this going on. I perhaps will put some stuff in the videos. But there's loads of people opening up all sorts of different ways to invest, all sorts of different ways to adopt it, all sorts of different technologies to use it, and different functionality or increasing the functionality of it. Obviously, it's going to take time before merchants get on top of this properly and get a system set up. But that will happen. I think that will happen. And then obviously there's this about Binance. This is the last article. I won't read this one. But across the board, education's occurring. There is loads of companies educating people, from small colleges, small training centres, right up to universities, businesses, industries. A lot of industries, the big industries, are involved in educating about the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. That's got to tell you a lot, guys. That's got to tell you a hell of a lot. Now, I'm going to go through the cryptocurrency, the market at the moment, quickly, briefly. But listen, as I've said before, I've got every faith in this market. I'm very bullish in this market. I do understand the technology. I do understand the ramification of what it's going to do and what it can achieve. All right, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not a big channel here and all this. I do bring videos on here, and I'm going to continue to do so. I wish I could do it more often, but I'm not going anywhere from this space. I am deeply in, financially, into cryptocurrencies, but I'm also deeply into it on the technology level. What's going to happen and how it's going to change the world. There is more people, I think, positive about it than negative, but there is obviously some of the big ones at the top are very concerned. Regulation will occur, and I think that'll be a good thing, as long as they're not trying to stifle it. Yeah. There's a lot of information out there. Some might be conspiracy theories about manipulation and markets. There will be a lot of that going on. But I think it'll settle down into where it's needed. And eventually the world will adopt it. We'll keep an eye on everything. I will bring some more stuff on for you. And we'll go through it. Hopefully this video has been some good info. Now, market cap currently 104 billion. I might be making a mistake here because I'm going to buy some more Bitcoin at some point. I'm just waiting for it to get less than 100 billion. Less than 3K. I'm just going to keep an eye on it. I think it will. If you look at the pattern this year, which, believe it or not, there is kind of a one, constantly sideways movement, lower lows, lower highs occurring, these drops, sideways movement, these drops, etc., etc. Yeah, a few fluctuations. I don't think that's over myself, okay? You guys have a look at it yourself, see what you think. I don't think that's over, and I think it will go less than 100 billion. How much less than 100 billion? I don't know. The new year, I still think it might be a little bit slow, but certainly we're going to perhaps get some growth going on there. We will get some growth. How much, I don't know. I'm hoping for major, But I'm kind of being a little bit reserved at the moment on what could happen in 2019. It could kick in and be mad and crazy. But I certainly can see it going over 200 bill. Total off the top of my head speculation, that is. But I definitely see like a drop less than 100 bill at some point. Now, I'm going to go in perhaps between 2.5 and 3,000. I've said before, I'll probably use dollar cost averaging and go down. But as you can see, 104 billion for the market cap. Bitcoin's dominating about 54%. I think with kind of a lot of the other cryptos, the ones that are of no use going down, I suspect Bitcoins will probably stay down here. Don't think it'll go back to like 40% and 30% like it did. I think it'll stay above 50% or thereabouts, may even go to 60%. I believe in Bitcoin a great deal, and I am really bullish on keep going and investing when I can, keep securing my position a bit stronger on Bitcoin. I am still big and bullish on XRP. Stellar, I am still bullish on that. I am keeping an eye on it and seeing what's going on. I think there's a great opportunity there. And certainly the other one I'm looking at is Cardano still. Still not sure about that. I'm going to keep going back through it. But for what a lot of people say, and for what I look at, Cardano's a great product. It's a great thing. So have a look at it, see what you guys think as well. But Bitcoin is essential. My opinion, Bitcoin is essential. If the Lightning Network works as well, that even makes it more essential. Several of the others I do like as well, and I will keep an eye on them. We'll see what happens. Guys, I'm sorry this has been 26 minutes long. I hope it's of use to you. I hope I haven't bored you to death. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you did like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. Please let me know what you think of it. If you've got any suggestions for me, let me know as well. I will keep getting more content out for you, and I hope to speak to you guys soon. Don't forget, stay with it, because I'm here for the long term.